With all the recent coverage of how Israel and Israeli partisans influence different aspects of American life, it's no surprise that Israel and its partisans have also exploited the U.S. Supreme Court for Israel's political gains. Here's the story. Abe Fortas was appointed to the Supreme Court in 1965 by President Lyndon B. Johnson. Fortas's parents were part of the massive Jewish immigration to America from Eastern and Southern Europe. Fortas graduated from Yale Law School in 1933. He entered private practice in 1946, and his firm became one of the most prominent in Washington, D.C. As counsel for Lyndon B. Johnson, he successfully contested the challenge to the validity of Johnson's election to the U.S. Senate in 1948. However, a former Texas voting official seeking peace of mind many years later said that he certified enough fictitious ballots to steal the election for LBJ. As author and historian Laura Kalman aptly put it, Abe Fortas was a Jew who cared more about Israel than Judaism. So why is Abe Fortas relevant today? The U.S. Supreme Court has handed down some significant decisions related to Israel, but in 1967, an Israeli citizen brought a case before the Supreme Court that changed American tradition. U.S. law at one time clearly stated that an American citizen could risk expatriation if they fought in a foreign army, held office in a foreign country, or voted in a foreign election. Beis Ephraim, whose original name had been Ephraim Bernstein, was born in Poland in 1895. He emigrated to the U.S. in 1912 and became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 1926. In 1950, aged 55, he emigrated to the newly recognized State of Israel. He became an Israeli citizen and voted in 6 political elections. After living in Israel for a decade, Ephraim wished to return to New York. In 1960, he asked the U.S. consulate in Haifa for an American passport. The Department of State refused the application, invoking the 1940 Nationality Act, the same ruling that stripped an American citizen named Perez of his U.S. citizenship for voting in a Mexican election in 1958. Attorneys acting for Ephraim took his case to a Washington, D.C. district court, which upheld the law. His attorneys appealed to the Court of Appeals. This court also upheld the law. The attorneys for Ephraim then moved the case onto the Supreme Court. Here, instead of recusing himself for his unabashed support for Israel, Supreme Court Justice Abe Fortas cast a swing vote in favor of Ephraim. In a 1993 interview, former INS Commissioner Leonel Castillo said, "The U.S. in its special relationship with Israel has become very sympathetic to allowing Israelis and Americans to retain 2 nationalities and allowing U.S. citizens to hold public office in Israel." Asked if he knew of any other countries with so many dual citizens, Castillo said, "No, I don't know any. This U.S. Israel relationship is a special situation." He also viewed it as a dangerous relationship. He said, "It is unknown to what extent the special relationship that allows Americans to vote in Israeli elections, fight in Israeli wars, and hold Israeli public office might be carried." It's an interesting thought considering how recent polls have shown support for Israel plummeting among American citizens. Yet public officials continue to support sending U.S. tax dollars to Israel. Abe Fortas was eventually forced to resign from the Supreme Court over allegations that he had accepted a bribe from corporate raider Lewis Wolfson, who was also reportedly a staunch benefactor of Israel.